Log on to myjoyonline.com. For local and international news, sports, business, entertainment, politics, lifestyle, or access the YouTube channel for video on demand or live streaming of events. Listen to live radio and to podcasts for all your favorite programs whenever and wherever. Follow us on social media and enjoy the experience. So reach for your tablets, laptops, smartphones and log on to myjoyonline.com, Ghana's most comprehensive news and entertainment website.
Welcome back to PM Express. We're discussing e-campaign as an election tool, and I have the MPP's national youth organizer, Anthony Abaifa Cabo, and then we also have on the line Atul Ozan Apia, who is a blogger. We are interacting with the two of them, and we'll continue. So, Mr. Cabo, you were saying that this whole thing was to enable the MPP segment its audience. Really, apart from that, what exactly is the objective of this campaign?
Well, I think that you would agree with me that the scores of young people today in our country, especially in our tertiary institutions, who are on the social media platform, cannot be underestimated. And to give them the opportunity to interact and also to feed them with the information, the message of the MPP is key, because people want to know what you are about. People want to know what the candidates' view on many issues are. On education, for instance, people want to understand what your free SHS policy is all about. People want to understand what your economic transformation you keep talking about is all about. People want to understand what you're going to do to restore our national health insurance system. People want to understand what you do to expand infrastructure in our country. People want to understand these issues, and people want to ask you critical questions and expect that you respond so they are satisfied. You understand? And so in doing all of this, our flag bearer is going to spend 2.5 hours of his time every day checking up on his Facebook page, checking up on his Twitter. Even in the campaign trail, he would be texting, he will be tweeting, he'll be responding to many of the issues that people are asking. And for him, I mean, having interacted with him very closely, he's a very exciting person, and he enjoys a lot of debate with people. He likes people to share their views on matters and also learn from people who are sharing these views. And that will make him a better person and make him a better candidate.
I'm sure beyond the excitement and enjoying this, you're also aiming to draw numbers. How exactly does this fit into your strategy to get the numbers that will make the win for your party?
Well, I think the numbers are already there. 1.4 million Ghanaians is not small number.
You're not getting all 1.4. Are you hoping to?
I'm saying you're not getting the, but you're looking at the score of people.
Majority of the people who tweet and do Facebook, most of them live abroad where internet connectivity are reliable.
Well, they live abroad, but
you possibly might be dreaming about things that are beyond your reach.
But they're Ghanaians. The long arm of Ghanaians living abroad cannot be underestimated. You know that.
I do.
People who live abroad have a big influence on the decisions taken by their households in Ghana. So you cannot take that out. And that is one of the issues we are seeking to address. If the ROPA had come to play, then it would have been much easier for us. But even that, in the absence of the ROPA, there's still the influence of Ghanaians abroad cannot also be totally pushed away. And so it's important. In terms of, getting people, for instance, I'm going to have a program in Tamale on my Facebook page. I can state in there clearly that at this time, in this venue, I'll be addressing young people in Zodbieli or in Kuku or at Russian bungalows. And so people who are on my Facebook page who live in that vicinity have an opportunity of information. They may not be watching the TV, they may not be on the radio, and so they can congregate at a particular event. That also is part of the mobilization strategy, because you want people to turn up, You want people to know what you're doing. You want people to follow you in terms of that. In doing that also, this platform is an opportunity for us to share information. If you go on Nana Akufo-Addo's website today, you can download the MPP's manifesto. If you go on the website today, you'll find out that his tour of Ablekuma constituency is uploaded, and you can watch the video. In terms of costs, if I come here and I ask you to run an advert for Nana Akufo-Addo, you're going to give me a bill. If I upload Akufo-Addo's videos on his YouTube page, I'm not going to pay no bill. All you need to do is to click and you watch it for free. So in terms of costs, you're reducing how much you spend on that. And you know the impact that will have on many people. If you know the number of people who can watch a video and say, I like it, it means that people have watched it. And they watch it for free, for paying nothing, just their time they have spent on it. So in terms of, information dissemination, this, in my view, to target the 1.4 million we're talking about, this is the best way forward. And how was this whole thing inspired? Nana Akufo-Addo makes the point that his inspiration to latch onto this network was largely because of the pressures he had from her daughters and the scores of young people in our party.
And you've told me influences from Obama's 2008 change campaign.
Exactly. And it has been, and the research in America has shown that Obama won his campaign. His youth mobilization was largely on
But
social
Obama's
media.
strategy was translated into mobilization on the ground. So they take, for example, the issues that they engage in on Facebook and they translate it to physical meeting spaces. Is that what is going to happen?
Exactly. All that is part of the strategy, that we are going to have an opportunity where that we can get people to mobilize based on the strategy. I have a group of friends who put on their Facebook page and said at 9 p.m. Saturday morning, we're meeting at Antimony Spot. And I can tell you, a lot of our friends will gather there because they know that coming there meeting Stephen Enti, he says he'll be there, another person says he'll be there, and draws another person in there. Before you realize, the whole Antimony Waje joint is filled up. That for Antimony is big business because she's drawing the numbers, not because of her advertising on her Facebook page, but because people are using her place as a center for mobilization. And so it is an important strategy in that way. But you see, we are not emphasizing too much of it because we know that majority of our people are not hooked onto the internet. And the level of ICT penetration in our country in the last 2 decades hasn't been that impressive. It could have been better. But this gives you a signal of a leader who talks about transformation. And if you want to transform an economy, you certainly will have to get into that transformational drive with technology. And so technology plays an important part. For me, it tells a lot about the character of Nana Akufo-Addo and the things that he's saying.
But these are all just rhetoric, really, on the ground. I mean, in reality, when you go on Facebook, a lot of things happen which makes you wonder whether that is the place to gather the thoughts and ideas of people who want to be honest with you.
Well, I find you may have a point, but it's not about the honesty of the people. It's
And
about the views
of the 1.3, many of them might be fake, really.
Well, I can
You might be gathering fake people
but
to
of
follow
course,
you.
Those are the negatives of technology.
So you deal with it.
So you can also understand that. But going into it, you have a clear mind that you're not going in for malice. You are using the platform to educate people. And so if people come onto the platform and, for instance, want to use foul language, or for instance, people want to say unsavory things about the candidate, we're certainly not going to respond to that, and we're not going to encourage that. And I don't believe that the decency of the Ghanaian youth will delve into that, because these are issues that we've been talking about, that our politics must be based on issues.
So how will you do things different? I mean, I have seen some very aggressive responses to ordinary comments that are meant to elicit responses. And it's just because people disagreed with your point. And so now and then
Steve, it's okay. It's okay for people to disagree. I don't see why in a country where we have a problem with people disagreeing.
They disagree so much it descends into
but
aggression.
It is fine for people to disagree. That is why
you are going to deal with
that. That is why we fought so much. And Nana Akufo-Addo has been at the forefront of fighting for this democracy. And you know that it is important to allow people to express themselves. no matter how negative their expressions may be, but it may be important for me to point out to you that your expression of yourself is negative and is uncalled for. And that is giving me an opportunity to respond to negative responses that people may bring on. So that's okay. I think we can accept that in our politics, especially when we're a young democracy and sometimes our political discourse get a bit steamy, even without being on the social media. On the radio stations, you've had difficult times interviewing people and you've had to cut them off the line. Why? Because you want the people who are following you or listening to your show to have a certain level of civility and decency in discussion. And I think that is what we need to encourage in our politics. I am a very big supporter of an open society where people can express their views. And you know the impact of social media. The Arab Spring that we've seen, the revolutions that we have seen, have all been inspired by young people because of the internet.
But also on our Facebooks, we've seen very, very, very disgusting caricatures of political leaders springing up. And these are from both sides of the political divide. The MPP and the NDC put some very horrible caricatures.
I can understand that. And I think that even as Joy FM, being the BBC of Africa, you find a way of dealing with those issues. It doesn't mean you're not shying away from.
So regardless of all that, you're telling us that that is the place you want to hang out.
We were going to hang out there. We're going to hang out there. We're going to be very robust with our policy debates. We're going to put out our message very strongly. We're going to defend our message very strongly. We're also going to listen and elicit responses from people. We're going to take on board those that are important issues and, of course, move on with our debate.
And are you going to make public the results of your analysis each time?
Well, it is open for everybody. And I'm very grateful that today you can latch onto Nana Akufo-Addo's Facebook page and follow the debate and make your own contribution.
How much is it costing you?
It is totally negligible.
How much?
It's not even something I should talk about. The cost is the energy and time. And you cannot cost that, can you?
You can cost the equipment.
Energy?
You can cost
What
the
are the
equipment.
So what are the equipment? Running a website? Having a Twitter on your phone? What is it? I have a Twitter on my phone. It costs me nothing. It costs me time to look at it and respond and think on my feet. And I think that is an important tool for any political leader, to know what the people think about your policy and also to take in feedback, which will be important to make your arguments more robust. And we don't hope to win all the debates on this platform. We can concede where we have to concede and learn from people, because I'm not too sure Nana Akufo-Addo is a repository of knowledge in this country. I'm not too sure about that. He accepts his faults, his shortcomings in many areas, and will want to use this platform as an opportunity to gather a bit more insight into policy debates and also for people to respect his view on matters. If he says, this is what I am talking about in terms of my policy, and what do you think? We can continue to have that debate. But as a country, Steve, we must always learn to disagree on the issues we disagree on. We must learn to have consensus on the matters that we agree on and move on. As for our disagreements, we can always come back to those issues. But the issues that are consensual are the issues we should carry forward. Those are the ones that are in the larger interest of the public. And that is what we must pursue.
Well, let's go back onto the phone line now and try again to speak with Atul Olsen Appiah. If you can hear me, thanks for staying on the line. Good evening.
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Great.
Good evening.
Now, we all understand from the discussions we're having that this is good. But overall, what would be your suggestion to be sure that the opportunities the political parties or political figures have on Facebook or social media platforms will be used with civility?
Well, the one who starts the conversation has to be civil, right? I think obviously once the conversation has to be civil, and even if someone comes up with an uncivilized response, you can always come back with a civilized response. I think it's pretty easy to quench fires. If you start, a fight on Facebook, and someone looks like they want to fight, and you look like you don't want to fight, he will back away. So I think, it's pretty easy for, some parties to just stick to the issues. And I think we're also seeing it that some people want to stick to the issues and not, get lost in all the banter that is going all over the place. So I think it's just a choice that someone has to make to, just stick to the issues and be civil.
But Ato, seriously, do you think people on Facebook or on Twitter or on any of the other social media platforms can be taken serious? For example, will you vote on issues based purely on the fact that they've been discussed on Facebook?
Oh, no, I wouldn't. Okay, well, I wouldn't do it purely based on the fact that it's been discussed on Facebook. But I think, the major point that we're making here is the interaction, right? That, you're able to actually interact and understand an issue better on social media than you would on traditional media, right? So then, if someone is trying to postulate a particular message, I can do some communication with him and understand the issues better or not. So I think, there's definitely, because there's that two-way street on social media, it's definitely more influential in being able to, sway a vote or sway an opinion than, just sharing it and not having anything to say, right? I mean, if someone just, mentioned something on radio and I didn't agree, the person will not have a chance to convince me or influence me to change, right? So either he says it and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Maybe if I was really biased towards that, I might just take it and, say that this is the truth. Or if I didn't, he wouldn't have the chance to prove otherwise. So I think that two-way street is definitely really influential in, shaping opinion and, ultimately driving, the collective good, right? So you can easily get, so I think on, traditional media, you can get more popularity, but on social media, you can get consensus because it's a two-way street or, even a three-way street with, other people contributing and things like that.
So when you blog, Ato, tell us, when you blog, do you seek to change perceptions or make people see your viewpoint and adapt to it or like it? What exactly do you aim to do when you seek to engage people on your blog?
Yeah, so normally I blog because I'm talking about my personal points. So I'm obviously trying to, influence people to maybe think the way I'm thinking or, see the light in something in particular. So I'm definitely trying to do that. And, so similarly, if people come to interact with me and, maybe because blogging is, one personal voice and it's citizen journalism, and a lot of the time it's really coming, it might not be as factual as like an actual journalist might be, but there's also a lot of room to grow, right? There's also room to learn. So if I, postulated something on my blog and someone came to say something different and I see the light in what he is saying, I would just, go on with what he's saying and say, okay, I've learned something new. So, just the same way, people might try to influence through their blogs. They also, it's also a great medium for them to learn and also be influenced.
So finally, Ato, tell me, what will be your, I should put it, advice to political parties or political personalities who use social media? What will be your advice to them on the way forward and how you feel that they should be packaging the messages for the audiences on the social media?
I think my advice would be not to use social media as a place to just get endorsements from their supporters, because I kind of see a lot of the political parties do that. So I would rather say that it should be a place where they can, actually get proper feedback from people, right? Because, if on your page it's just everyone coming to say, oh, yeah, we vote for you, there's no value in that, right? I mean, the value is in, oh, okay, you mentioned you're going to do this particular issue, but have you thought of this? Or, you mentioned you're going to do this with this particular issue, but, how about when they did it this way elsewhere? So I think, it should be a great place for organizations, not just political parties, for organizations to be able to learn from, feedback and, because there's a lot of knowledge, right? I mean, there's a lot of knowledge in regular voters. Regular voters also have opinions, and, they also have, some ideas on how different things should be done. So it should be a way or a medium for, a lot of two-way interaction. And, the political parties also learning from the populace and not just them, spewing all their campaign messages on it.
And do you think this whole thing is relevant and will have a significant impact on this year's election? Do you foresee that?
The numbers are there to show, right? I mean, the voting population is what, 12 million, 13 million, and then the number of people on Facebook is maybe around 10% of that. And then, like I said before, I think the people on social media are influential. That's one thing that we should really note, right? They are the ones with the phones. They are the ones with the disposable income, And I really believe that, a voter could be convinced easily by his friend, as easily as, as a political person, right? So if these people who are influential are in this space, it's definitely something to be taken very seriously.
Okay, thank you very much, Atul Olsen-Appiah. He's a prolific blogger. Yes, that's fine. So, Mr. Kabo, you heard him. He's saying that don't use social media to get endorsement for your policies. Social media will give you just 10% of the relevant votes you need to win.
I think that coming into this whole business of the social media, we're very cognizant of those issues that he's raising. And I keep saying to you that the entire strategy for the New Patriotic Party and the candidate himself is not largely for us to spend our whole time and energy blogging or sharing views
or tweeting
and all, any of things of that sort. But we still have a big part of our strategy where we are canvassing radically for votes in rural Ghana, and of course going on to the door-to-door and explaining to people various facets of the population in different languages what our policies are. And of course we get a certain level of feedback, but the feedback you can get from the social media is a bit relaxed because people will take their time, analyze the issues, and before they post a comment or post a response, which you can also take your time and explain to the people. And so a large part of our strategy is to get out there and touch the people who are not hooked on to the social media. And I'm saying that we are just looking at a niche market, and that niche market is those who, like he said, with a disposable income. But I talked to you also about the fact that these people have an overbearing influence on the people that they have control over and the influence over. And that is what we are looking at. There are various aspects to this whole thing, and that we must be able to decouple properly in the analysis before we have a better understanding of what we're talking about. But
now, internet connectivity in Accra and most of the big cities are slow.
Well, I mean,
internet connectivity is slow. So to think about rural areas, that will be worse. How are you getting around?
We're not getting on rural areas on this matter. We're talking about metropolitan centers, people who have computers, people who have access to their iPads, people who have laptops, people who have phones, China phones today. People are tweeting on those phones. And we're talking about a country where you have mobile phone in circulation to be well over 10 million mobile phones in our system. And that's a huge chunk. You cannot wish away that just because people are in rural Ghana. We're talking about an e-switch platform that is supposed to be working in rural areas, even where there's no electricity. So we are gradually getting there. But any political party worth its salt cannot wish away that critical mass of people, just like that. But you will not also spend a lot of your time and energy on that. But I'm telling you, majority of the floating voters in this country are on social media. Critical minds, people who vote for political parties not because they are fanatics, activists, or particularly aligned to any political parties. People who vote for political parties because of policy options are on this critical mass.
And there are also the radicalized ones who are there,
exactly,
who will vote for a party with or without good policy initiatives.
That's the point. And those are the people you gather with your mobilization. I've been rolling around the whole country, running in rural Ghana, engaging people. I don't go to talk about Facebook to them or Twitter to them. I don't go to do that. I pick my crowd properly. If I go to Lagos, where it's a very elite audience, of course, this is where these things are very relevant to that critical audience. But if I go to Bunkpurgu, where electricity is non-available, I'm talking about the fact that it's important that they have electricity. If I go to places where the road infrastructure is not that good. I'm not going to be talking about Facebook there. I'm talking about the fact that it's the responsibility of government to provide infrastructure, to provide water, to provide clinics. And those people can easily relate to those issues because those amenities are totally absent. And they're looking for a political party that is ready to give them that hope and to give them a message and a promise. In fact, not just, promises because you want to win an election.
So why now? I mean, Pakwesi Ndiom started this a long while ago before the MPP, and you might possibly be pinching his idea.
No, I'm not too sure that it's a Pakwesi Ndiom issue. Our flag bearer said in his speech that he went onto the social media in 2007.
And Pakwesi
didn't get
might have been there already.
He wasn't there in 2007. The CPP didn't run in 2007, ran a Facebook campaign. We're in this country. We saw that. It is only when it became PPP that they went onto the social media.
No, Pakwesi Ndiom was on Facebook as CPP.
Well, but I'm saying to you, I didn't see any Pakwesi Ndiom CPP. The talk about Pakwesi Ndiom today, it is because it's PPP, and he's been quite radical with his Facebook page, and that's fine. That's Pakwesi Ndiom's own business. I'm not talking about Pakwesi Ndiom today. I'm talking about the fact that my flag bearer has decided to endear himself to a critical mass of Ghanaians who are latched onto this network, and that is most important.
So is he the one going to manage this, or he will delegate people to be responding to his tweets and Facebook comments?
I said to you that, I mean, he's spending 2.5 hours of his time, on social media.
I mean, how did you arrive at 2.5? How did you get to the relevance of spending a meager 2.5 hours?
You think it's meager? That's a lot of time to spend for a flag bearer of a political party who has a phone, who's tweeting on his phone. Cannot be tweeting on his phone while he's in a meeting. He can only tweet on his phone while he's leaving his house to his office, or probably at his own leisure time, or on his way traveling out to a campaign area, and he has a reception and decides to tweet or check out what's going on. But I'm telling you that there are a lot of young people behind this project who are really and willing to offer their time and energy to support the flag bearer in that respect. So it's not just going to be just him, but scores of young people are also going to be involved in the project. And like I'm saying to you, many of the people are doing this on a voluntary basis. Our flag bearer is a very popular person and is very likable by young people. And of course, people are ready to offer time and energy for this project for free. And I'm telling you, ever since we launched...
And so this is costing you nothing?
Absolutely nothing. It comes at no cost to the campaign. It comes at no cost to the National Youth Wing. It comes at no cost to the party. It's just the energy and the time that people are willing to...
I kept asking, what about the cost of the equipment? To say zero cost makes it very interesting.
Nanado's website page was put together by some young people for free. It's their own campaign donation. Nanado's uploading of his videos, his cameraman is somebody who walks up to us in the party headquarters, someone we know as an ardent supporter of our party, says that I want to be on the trail and I want to work out his videos and I want to upload his videos at no cost to us. And that is the meaning of a campaign. In the campaigning time, people waste their time, their energy, their vehicles, their resources. They make it available because we're looking at a Ghana project for the Akufo-Addo presidency. We're not looking at a party project in that way. And so that is why I'm saying it comes at no cost to us. And certainly it's very exciting to see young people, in fact, doing so much to support the campaign of Akufo-Addo. And I'm very, very excited about that.
Well, we're discussing e-campaign, an election tool, and I have tons of your messages coming in. I'll take some time to read some of them for those of you who didn't send any to try and send more next time. Good evening, Anthony Cabo. You used to disturb me for my Gary back at St. Charles. This is Gonzop Samuel from
I remember
Kauba. And then Mikhail Sterling Aka Menla says, na. And then Samuel Atachum says, it's a step in the right direction. This shows maturity in Ghana politics. And then Mikhail Kweku says, Ghana's population is not even up to 30 million. And you guys are saying he is targeting 41 million Ghanaians on Facebook. How can that be possible?
No one said
well,
that.
He said 1.4 million, if I remember very clearly. And Adomako Job says, in fact, it shows our improvement in the area of IT, but I will give the credit to Parkwesi for being the pace setter. Here it is again. And Solomon Nyantechi says 41 million. When did we get that number? Well, I think I heard 1.4 million. So I don't know where the 41 million started trickling in from. But, well, Desmond Nana Osborne says it seems a lot of new things are introduced before this general elections. New voter IDs, new constituencies, president's death, now e-campaign. Hey, Ghana, we should have being careful about this election. Oh, well, I mean, Ebo Kwabinamwa says, it shows how and where the future of Ghana is moving. No party can lie about gold reserves being sold and all that, because they will instantly be found out. Solomon Jemfi says, I think the whole process is a step in the right direction. It shows our level of maturity in IT and democracy at large. But there is this simple question I will like to ask. Is it possible for Nana, whether he thinks he's flattering, says his word, I don't know exactly what Solomon Jemfi wants to say, but is this simple question I would like to, is it possible for Nanado? He thinks he's well, I can't understand Solomon. Maybe you have to write again so that we can get it clearly and read. Solomon Nyantechi again says, none of them are credible. They have all been part of our problems, not solutions. Wake up. And Jerry Elikem says that this is not the first time Nana is adopting this style of campaign. Remember the team of musicians he put together who were all over TV and radio? Anyone who has read Arthur Kennedy's Seymour. And then Henry Kweku Abutu says, you mention all those personalities, Parkwesi Ndium and Nanado, then you casually mention the NDC. Is the NDC a person? Amableto Enoch says, why are you worried your people don't want education for the Ghanaian youth? Nana Kobina Mushi says, elections are not won on Facebook or by e-campaign in Ghana. Perhaps Nanado and the MPP want to have friends they can chat with, but not to win 2012 general election. Anthony Cabo, I would like you to respond to that. I mean, the whole purpose of this Facebook message, I guess, is to cast doubt on whether this is a good platform to draw the numbers to win. You still believe strongly that this is a solid platform where you can draw enough numbers to win?
Well, it is not the winning per se. It is more about informing the audience and equipping them with the information so that they can contribute to the discourse.
Right, equipping them with information. And Corin's Heritage Frimpong says, we're in a global village, I beg your pardon. That's why Nana is taking the step to spread the good news across the world. Collins again says we are in a global village. I've read that already. And Kosi D. Atipo says MPP has chalked many firsts. The only party with biometric ID, 2, the only party to have launched an intensified e-campaign on Facebook, Twitter, Google, Twitter, Tumblr, stumble upon. And then Dixon Desire from Laura says, the MPP is a party with vision, good ideas, and better policies. It is good that the party has a visionary personality like Nanado, humbly assisted by great economists. And Solomon Nyantechi says, is this a vision? Oh, please, Parkwesi Ndium started this long ago. MPP, wait for people to come up with something before they jump. And Benjamin Bonti Benjamin in Kwasohini, Nana Akufo-Addo's e-campaign launch really shows how the man intends to transform the nation through modernization by all standards. And I'm afraid I'm unable to read all of the messages that are coming forward. We have lots of them. We promise that we will put them on our walls for everybody to access them. So, Anthony Capo, let me quickly give you the chance to close in with
Well, I just wanted to make a very important statement, and it appears it's lost on many people, this whole idea of technology. You would recall that during our parliamentary primaries, there was one candidate in Tamale, Musa Superior, who was not physically present for the whole campaigning period during his parliamentary primaries. He got in touch with all the delegates through Skype, and he won the primaries. He didn't have to be physically present in Tamale to win that primaries. It only goes to tell you, and I remember Joy FM running a very extensive story about the novelty of that, how somebody can sit in the UK, in Tamale, with all the internet problems we have in our country, and still be able to convince delegates. Even on the day of his election, he delivered his speech to the delegates in the hall through Skype, and he won the election. That goes a long way to tell you how much technology can go in our country.
Thank you very much, Anthony Karbo, is MPP National Youth Organizer, and thanks to you, Ato Olsen Appiah, a blogger, for joining us on phone, and thanks to you, our audience, for your messages and texts and comments. My name is Stephen Enti, and thanks for joining us on PM Express. Join us again tomorrow for another edition. Good night.